Morning, AMC Nation. Johnwicksnipin is back. And so yesterday I was watching a video from Lou where, he promotes now to have your margin accounts switched over to cash accounts. It's funny because a lot of the, stuff that I've been doing with calling up some of these places and brokerages and stuff like that, now I'm getting sort of parroted, even by Lou, in my opinion, because he's never said something like that before. So I'll take that as a compliment at this point. I'm not trying to fight Lou anymore. So today, what I'm going to be doing is calling Fidelity and moving my account from a margin to a cash account. Now, don't ask me why it was put on margin. Just like Lou said in his video, they're doing that kind of shit. Mine was done a while back ago, but holding AMC. And I just didn't think nothing of it. I didn't even know that that's how your shares get loaned out, to be honest, until I made that call and found that out and informed you guys of it. So today I'm going to get the Fidelity back on the phone, and I'm going to move my account from a margin account to a cash account so that my shares cannot be loaned out. After they complete that process, I'm going to ask those tough questions again, but I want to take care of my account first before, maybe it doesn't get done correctly or something. I don't know. But so without further ado, give me a second.
Thank you for calling Fidelity Investments. Calls may be recorded and monitored. To get started, enter your username if you have one, or your social security number. Would you like to hear information on your tax forms for 2021?
No, thanks.
How can I help you today? The more you say, the better.
Speak to a representative.
Okay, representative. To avoid unnecessary delays and get you the best answers, please tell us more specifically what you need help with today.
Margin account.
Okay, question about margin. Are you calling about a margin application?
No.
Connecting support for
Margin account.
Thank you for calling Fidelity Investments. My name is Ariana with the Client Services team. Can I ask who I'm speaking to today? An account today, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. How can I help?
Okay, so I want to move from having a margin account over to a cash account. I don't even know why it was placed in a margin account. I used to have a cash account, but it was removed and now I'm in a margin.
Gotcha. Okay. Yes, I do have your accounts pulled up in front of me. So I do see we're at least not borrowing any margin at the moment. So you have fully paid 100% of all of the, it looks like you have AMC in that individual. The only thing I do see here on this first brokerage account is you do have a $71.06 debit. Just so you're aware of that.
For what?
Let me see. Give me just a second. It may be, let me see if I can. Yeah, that's totally fine.
Because I don't, is there a way for my shares not to be loaned out while having a margin account?
Yeah. So since you do own 100% of them and you're not borrowing on margin, there wouldn't be any loaning out your shares. We can also remove the margin feature. I can put in a request for that if you want to keep this account here, the brokerage account itself, and just remove the margin. That's 100% an option as well.
Yeah. How long does that process take?
Yeah, so once we put in the request, so we would put that in today, it would most likely just be probably we give it 5 business days just because we don't know how long our processing queue is, because we have been getting a lot of like transfers and everything like that. But usually once it just goes through like an approval process to make sure that you don't have certain restrictions on your account, you have most everything is up to date and good, and then usually it's removed relatively fast. But I would say about 5 business days at the most.
What happens to my shares during that processing time? Can I still make moves on my shares?
Yeah. So it wouldn't affect any of your holdings, any of your ability to trade, anything like that. It does look like the AMC shares were bought in margin. I could be wrong, and it's just because it is considered a margin account. But
they were not.
Like I said, okay, so that would be just because it is in a margin account, but you do own 100% of the equity in your account, so you definitely wouldn't have to worry about anything there. So you really shouldn't run into any problems while that request is processing.
But will I be able online to sell my shares if I want to within that processing time? Will I have access to my shares?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So in that case, let's remove the margin. Let's make it a cash account. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, let me put in that request. I do just want to make sure we have a few things we have to check first. Give me just a second here.
Going back to something that you said real quick, you said something about you're getting
Sure.
a lot of transfers.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of transfers in. So we have like a process. We have a few different queues of where like our form processes go. So I don't know 100% which queue this one would end up in. So that's why we aren't 100% sure which, like how long it would take exactly.
Okay, but you're getting transfers from like other like free app brokerages or something like that?
Yeah, recently at least I have been seeing quite a few transfers from outside firms into Fidelity. But that's just at least what I've seen.
Gotcha. Yeah, because there's a lot going on with this AMC stock. There's a lot of information out there, possible misinformation, possible hidden information. We don't know. It's really hard to kind of judge this position because there seems to be just a lot of unanswered questions. Do you happen to know anything about it?
Do you have like specifics? I don't know much on like the position itself.
Well, there's a lot of talk about there being a lot of naked shorting, synthetic shares that have been created to kind of keep this price down on the stock, just because the shorting side of this situation is, I guess, made a bad move, made a bad play, over leveraged on their short position, and now the AMC community has kind of ganged up and said we're going to buy it up, and that's just basically the storyline that I've gone with. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to squeeze the short position out.
Gotcha. I mean, I have seen quite a few clients that we have with AMC Holdings. I have not heard much on like the shorting aspect of it, but I have seen it's pretty common here at least.
Now, let me ask you, if the share price reaches, let's just say this happens, like the squeeze does happen, and it reaches like a very high amount in share price. I mean, that's what everybody that's owning this stock, or mostly everybody owning this stock, is like kind of hoping. But let's just say it reached like, I don't know, let's just, for example, something stupid like $10,000 per share. Would Fidelity ever run into a situation where they're not going to be able to pay everybody, so maybe they'll just stop at a certain point and say, you know what, 10,000 is our max, we're not going to be able to go, even if it's rising past that, but we can't pay past $10,000 a share?
Yeah, let's see. I don't think we would ever run into where, like, we would cap it. It's not, like, a common thing, like, for us to do, really. So I definitely don't think you would run into that at any point. Like, and we say that we can't pay you out past a certain point, because that would kind of be bad on us as well.
Do you
I
guys,
think just like our company, go ahead.
you guys don't, but you don't have like a somewhere in some sort of fine print, like a max amount like that a stock can reach, because this is a heavily owned stock by the retail investor. That's just public knowledge at this point. You know, that's not even opinion. It's just
Right.
this is probably one of your most active stocks in all of Fidelity. I from what I see online. And you know, there's a lot of people that own 100 shares, 1,000 shares, 50,000 shares, and I'm just like wondering, like, let's just say it reaches something crazy like that, like 10,000, because this kind of move has never really been tried before. And they tried it with GameStop and it kind of worked. And then Robinhood, along with some other brokerages, decided to kind of limit its potential growth. So in Robinhood's case, they did not allow the retail investor to buy any more shares. Therefore, the price couldn't increase anymore. You could just only sell. Other brokerages decided to limit the amount of shares that you can buy, somewhere between 50 and 100 max. So they were kind of controlling the process. And you know, a lot of the storyline in AMC seems to be the same, where you know, everybody's worried about that happening again with multiple brokerages or all brokerages across the board. The only difference is now we kind of know what can be done. So it's kind of like, you better not kind of do that kind of stuff. So I'm just calling now to just reconfirm for myself. You know, I can only worry about myself right now. And I just want to make sure that,
Right.
and I don't have like, you know, I don't have 10,000 shares or anything like that. You know, I have what I have. And I just want to make sure that I don't get caught, like, because I'm playing this situation like with that potential, and I don't want to get caught not being able to capitalize on it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, usually if there were any type of like set limit for that, we would definitely get like some sort of notification, like alert on our end, basically. And I have yet to see anything like that through this whole thing. So I definitely don't think that is something that you're gonna run into, because we would definitely know about it, and we would be made aware about it as well. And I have no knowledge about it. So yeah, I definitely don't think it would really be something that we would do.
Okay. And then also, in your opinion, you don't believe that there are shares that are not or that are being created falsely. Like you don't know about that. Just to kind of like, for instance, because you're a brokerage and you're just like the middle person basically. So if I come to you and I say I want 1,000 shares, you don't actually have those shares, but you're going to vouch that that request is processed. So I say, give me 1,000 Fidelity. You say, okay, I got you right away. How much do you want to pay? Okay, I'll pay $15 a share. Okay, cool. And then you guys go out and you go get those 1,000 shares at $15. The problem is that apparently those shares don't really exist. It's because the holdings by the community are just so large already, meaning the float is owned by 90% of the float is owned by the retail investors. So I'm confused as how someone like Fidelity or anybody goes out and gets more shares, more real shares, for that person to own 100%.
Yeah, so we definitely, I mean, I don't know like the specifics of like how we go out and like get the shares, like everything like that. But I do know that we definitely ensure that we're not like buying these fake, quote unquote, fake shares. Like you were saying, how we try to guarantee as best as we can that you are getting exactly what you're looking for.
But you don't know if that exists or not, like that process is actually happening or not, or it can be happening.
Myself, no, I don't.
Okay. So but you just don't know, but it can be possible.
That's where I think it gets a bit like sticky between like brokerages and like especially like these shares like AMC and GameStop, because I honestly don't know how, I don't want to say realistic it is because it is a concern of people, but how likely it is for those like quote unquote fake shares to be created. I just don't know the specifics of that, so I don't know 100% like yes or no.
Gotcha. All right, so let's enough about.
Yeah, but I do know like we guarantee that we are doing what's best for you as well.
Cool. All right, so moving aside from that, as of right now, you can confirm that I 100% own my shares. You 100% have my shares. You're going to move my account from a margin account to a cash account, and you have already stated that I will be able to do as I please with my shares during this processing time.
Yeah, so the only thing that before we can remove the margin is we just have to look at this cash debit, because if there's any debits on the account, we just have to get those solved first. So I've been looking into where that potentially came from, and it looks like there was a transfer into this account.
Yes, from webull to
okay.
Fidelity.
Yes. So
and the reason why,
like,
just so you know, whether you may or not care, but the reason why I transferred from webull to Fidelity is because, again, if this happens, a free app like webull may just say, we can't pay you guys, we're shutting it down, sorry.
Right.
So I've always had a Fidelity account, but I happened to have purchased my AMC shares quickly through webull. And then I decided, you know what? I don't want to run that risk. I saw what happened with Robinhood and GameStop. Let me get out of webull. Let me go back into my more confident brokerage, bigger brokerage like yourselves, and transfer my shares over. And I guess you're getting a lot of that.
Yeah, I have recently seen quite a bit of that. But yeah, so like I was saying, so it looks like whenever it was transferred over, it looks like the debit cash balance was transferred with it. So it looks like that came from webull.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to deal with that right now. We'll figure it out somewhere down the road. It sounds weird to me, especially if there's no details about it. It's only $71, but I'm not going to pay something that doesn't have much information. But I don't want to handle that right now on this call. I just want to make sure that you process my account from a margin account to a cash account, and I want your 100% guarantee that I am able to still make any moves necessary with my shares during this processing time, that like I'm basically don't even know what's going on with the processing. Everything that I see online is the same. And if something happens tomorrow or even today where this stock goes up and I want out, I can do that, and there's not going to be any problem. There's not going to be, oh, well, you were processing, so you couldn't really sell it, and we didn't. I don't want to hear any of that.
No, definitely. I completely understand. So when that processing is in place, you're completely correct. You'll have absolute access to everything. But I actually can't submit that request until that cash debit is dealt with. So that is one of the things we have to make sure. We have like a couple of steps going through when we're removing that margin feature. And the only one that you're running into here is the fact that there is a debit on the account.
So how do you want me to deal with that? I have to pay?
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely call into my back office and see, since it was transferred over, if there's any other way to deal with it. But most likely it would just be you would have to pay that $71.06.
Yeah, I definitely need more information before I pay $71 for something I have no clue.
No, yeah, I completely understand. If you don't mind, I will get in contact with my back office just because since it was transferred over, I do wish I could see a bit more information, and they might be able to see more information. So if you don't mind waiting a few minutes, I have no problem getting in contact with them for you.
Okay, will do.
Perfect.
Put you guys on hold. You don't need to be involved in this.
Okay.
I guess what I'm going to just close this call with is my shares will be safe in this margin account for now until I pay the $71. Should my shares go through the roof, they're safe. You guys are going to pay me. Everything's good.
Yes.
Okay, so I 100% own my AMC shares. You guys have them there for me. If I wanted to, I can even request stock certificates at this point.
Yes, you definitely can. Especially you're not borrowing anything. Like I said, you have that margin feature on the account, but it's not being used. So you own 100% of all of your stock.
And you guys
and
are not.
You can, like you said, yes, request certificates.
Okay, and you guys are not loaning them out.
No.
Okay. All right, I've got your word on all that stuff. So I'm good for now. When I call back, I guess I'll pay that $71. If I feel like switching it over to a cash account, I will. But as of right now, I'm confident in you telling me that my shares are 100% owned by me. You're not loaning them out. The margin account really is just there. It's not being utilized. There's no borrowed money. And if I need to sell at 100,000 a share, you guys will cover it. I'm good. No problems.
Yes, correct.
Okay, that'll do it for today then. I'll call back and resolve the $71 issue.
Perfect. I'm glad we could get most of that information clarified for you, and I do hope you have a great rest of your day.
Same to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right, folks, there you have it. I don't really have to explain it. You heard it all. I'm not going to worry about transferring it right now. I think it's more of a problem with the 5-day processing time that I can run into trying to just move my account from a margin to a cash account. And them saying, oh, well, you were in a processing time, so I'm sorry we can't pay you. So I think I'm going to leave it the way it is. I still probably, if you're going to do it, I'm not going to recommend something. This is something that I've thought about. Lou mentioned it in his videos. Just make sure you ask the same questions that I asked. Now, I'm not going to talk any more about this on this video. I want to close you guys with... I believe, be calling TD Ameritrade maybe sometime later today as another video and ask them what happened to their building in Chicago. Why did it burn down? Can you give me some details on that? Because I know we're all interested in finding out what the hell that was all about. So for now, Johnwicksnipin is out. Thank you.